Let's see redox reactions, important applications. One is in electrolytic cell and second one is electrochemical cells. In electrolytic cells and electrochemical cells, in both cells, the redox reactions are taking place. Redox reactions are taking place. First listen, what is electrolytic cell? Electrolytic cell means it is the device. This is like electrolytic cells are being like this. It is the device. The device is used for the conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy. Means electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. The device are called electrolytic cell. So in that electrolytic cell, construction is being like this. There two electrodes are present. One is anode, second one is cathode. The anode is positive electrode and cathode is negative electrode. The both electrodes are connected with battery. Both electrodes are connected with battery. Then this is the positive and the negative. Both electrodes are connected with battery. Then the charge will be transferred from these electrons are moving towards enters means current. What is that current? Current is nothing but flow of electrons is known as a current. Then electrons are enters from cathode and transferred towards anode side means current. Current pass from cathode to anode side. Cathode to anode side. So two electrodes. What is the name of the electrodes? Anode and cathode. Anode is positive electrode and cathode is a negative electrode. Both electrodes we are dipping in one solution. The solution is known as electrolyte. For example, NaCl electrolyte you have to take. NaCl aqueous means NaCl sodium chloride we know very well. For example, we know that the solution is NaCl sodium chloride solution. So the sodium chloride solution, in the sodium chloride solution, see two electrodes we are dipping. Two electrodes we are dipping in that NaCl solution. The NaCl solution acts as the electrolyte. So the two electrodes, one is anode, second one is cathode. The both anode and cathode we are connected with battery. So why we are connecting? Because the batteries produce that electricity or current. Then the current will flow from cathode side to anode side. Then automatically NaCl will be ionized. NaCl. So in this, for example, sodium chloride acts as aqueous NaCl acts as electrolyte. So NaCl aqueous NaCl acts as electrolyte means after passing the current, what happens, man? NaCl will become ionized. NaCl will become ionized. Don't worry, man. Recording diagrams I will show you. Don't worry. See, NaCl acts as an electrolyte. NaCl acts as an electrolyte by passing electric current. Then NaCl will become ionized. NaCl will become ionized. How it will ionize? Na plus plus Cl minus. And aqueous NaCl, water is also present. Then water is also ionized to give H plus plus OH minus ions. H plus plus OH minus. See, this positive ions are goes towards cathode and negative ions are goes towards anode. At anode, what happens now? Oxidation reaction takes place. What are the negative ions are present? Cl minus and OH minus ions are present. Out of that, Cl minus ions lost electrons forms Cl2 gas and gives one electron. One electron. Cl minus lost electrons converted into Cl2. See, what is the oxidation number of Cl minus? 0. What is the oxidation? Sorry. Cl minus oxidation number is -1 and in Cl2, what is the oxidation number? 0. So the oxidation number is increased. -1 is converted into 0 means oxidation half reaction. It is a oxidation half reaction. Okay, so at anode, negative ions undergoes oxidation. The Cl minus ion undergoes oxidation converted into Cl2 gas. And at cathode reduction reaction takes place. So what are the positive ions? Positive ions are moved towards cathode. See, Na plus ion is present as well as H plus ions also be present. When compared with Na plus and H plus ions, Na plus ions discharge potential is very less. That's why H plus ions discharge potential is very less. That's why H plus ions can be reduced very easily. H plus ions accept one electron, forms half H2. Hydrogen gas will liberate. Hydrogen gas will be liberated. See, H plus means what is the oxidation number? Plus 1 and converted into H2 gas. H plus oxidation number is 1 and converted into H2 gas. Converted into H2 gas. So then oxidation number for H2 is 0. So oxidation number is decreased means it is reduction reaction. It is a reduction reaction. Okay. Finally, Na plus ions are present as well as OH minus ions are present, forms NaOH solution. NaOH. So this equation NaCl plus H2O is converted into Cl2, half Cl2 plus half H2 plus NaOH, sodium hydroxide solution. See, this Na plus, in that Cl minus ions, and in H plus, oxidation number hydrogen gas. Hydrogen oxidation number is plus 1. In Cl minus, chlorine oxidation number is minus 1. See, this is converted into 0. Minus 1 is converted to 0 means oxidation. At the same time, in water molecule, hydrogen oxidation number is plus 1. The plus 1 is converted into 0. It is called a reduction. This is the cell reaction one. NaCl plus water on electrolysis. On electrolysis converted into Cl2 plus H2 plus NaOH. Cl2 plus H2 plus NaOH. Sodium hydroxide will form. So in that reaction, Cl minus ions undergoes oxidation and H plus ions undergoes reduction. H plus ions undergoes a reduction. So this reaction is known as electrolysis reaction. This reaction is known as electrolysis reaction. This electrolysis reaction taking place in electrolytic cell. So the electrolytic cell, it is the device is used for electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. So we are using some electrical energy. That electrical energy is used for the decomposition of NaCl, aqueous NaCl. The decomposition of aqueous NaCl then forms Na plus ions, Cl minus ions and H plus ions and OH minus ions. Cl minus ions converted into Cl2 gas and H plus ions are converted into H2 gas and Na plus ions and OH minus ions converted into NaOH, sodium hydroxide gas. Okay, sodium hydroxide solution. So this total process is known as electrolysis process. So the electrolysis process generally is carried out in one particular operator. That operator is known as electrolytic cells. So in electrolytic cells, what type of mechanism is taking place? What type of reactions are taking place? Redox reaction is taking place because it involves both oxidation reaction as well as reduction reaction. Both are taking place in electrolytic cell. That's why it is important applications for redox reactions. So in electrolytic cell, redox reactions are taking place. Electrolytic cell, redox reactions are taking place. Understood, ma? In electrolytic cell, what happens? What type of reactions are taking place? Redox reactions are taking place. Okay? More details and everything we'll discuss in second PUC electrochemistry chapter. Okay, clear? So, electrolytic cell. What is electrolytic cell? It is the device used for electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. Electrical energy is converted into chemical energy. So, it contains anode and cathode. It contains anode and a cathode. Two electrodes are present. At anode, oxidation takes place and the cathode reduction takes place. Okay, so for example, in this electrolytic cell, I used H2. Half H2 means half mole of hydrogen gas will form. Do you want to balance this equation? Means you have to write 2 moles of NaCl plus 2 moles of water forms 1 mole of Cl2 plus 1 mole of H2 plus 2 moles of NaOH. Solution. 2 moles of sodium hydroxide solution. That is complete balanced equation without fractional value. Okay? This is about electrolytic cell. Next, electrochemical cell. Let's see. The second one is electrochemical cell. Electrochemical cell. Okay, this electrochemical cell is also nothing but what man? It is nothing but battery. We are using batteries. What is that battery? Here battery is two types, primary batteries and secondary battery. First you have to think about only primary battery. Primary battery means we cannot recharge. Just once we are used means after that power is there is no power means reuse is not possible. The type of batteries or cells known as primary batteries. For example, electrochemical cells acts as nothing but batteries. Acts as nothing but batteries. So these electrochemical cells are useful for the production of electricity. Chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. Chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. So the main one important electrochemical cell is galvanic cell. One important electrochemical cell is a galvanic cell. So this galvanic cell or electrochemical cell is used for the conversion of chemical energy into electrical energy. Means how the current is produced or not, how can we identify? Just we have to connect that both anode and cathode to a wire, and voltmeter if we kept means the voltmeter will be deflect. Voltmeter will be deflect, then it produce electricity. If voltmeter is not deflected means it cannot produce current. What is current? Current is nothing but flow of electrons. Flow of electrons is nothing but current or electricity. Okay, see this electrochemical cell is connected with two half cells. One is anode half cell. The second one is cathode half cell. See, in anode half cell, just I kept zinc rod in zinc sulfate solution. In cathode half cell, copper rod I kept in copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution. Both are connected by the wire and voltmeter. Then after few minutes, what happens now? The electrons are transferred from anode to cathode side. Anode to cathode side. Then automatically voltmeter will be deflect. Then it producing current. It means it producing current. So in this reaction, in this cell, what happens? At anode oxidation takes place and at cathode reduction takes place. Let's see anode. At anode oxidation reaction takes place. Oxidation. So Zn2 plus ions are present and zinc metal is present. So in zinc sulfate solution, the zinc sulfate acts as electrolyte. Immediately at anode oxidation takes place means zinc metal. Means zinc electrode we are using. The zinc metal decompose to produce electrons. That electrons are converted from anode to cathode side. Zn plus 2. Sorry, zinc solid. Converted into plus 2 and produce 2 electrons. So the zinc metal acts as anode. The zinc solid converted into Zn2 plus ions. Zn2 plus ions and produce 2 electrons. The 2 electrons are transferred through this wire through the cathode side. Then what happens on cathode? At cathode, copper 2 plus ions are present in the solution. Copper 2 plus ions are present in this aqueous solution. They accept 2 electrons, then converted into copper solid. Converted into copper solid. Then the electrons are transferred continuously. To maintain neutrality, electrical neutrality, then both half cells were connected with one salt bridge, a U-shaped tube. That U-shaped tube is known as salt bridge. So what happens now? At anode, oxidation reaction takes place. The zinc metal is converted into Zn2 plus and produce 2 electrons. At cathode, copper 2 plus ions are converted into copper by accepting electrons. Then here oxidation number is increased and here oxidation number is decreased. Means both oxidation and reduction reactions that takes place in electrochemical cell. So the working function of electrochemical cell, it is the application of redox reaction. The working function of electrolytic cell, it is the application of redox reaction. So just up to that only you have to learn in first PUC. More details and further important applications regarding that all we will discuss in second PUC electrochemistry chapter. Second PUC electrochemistry chapter. Don't worry about that. Okay students, let's see another important application. For redox reactions, that is so redox reactions also taking place in quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis. What is quantitative analysis? What is the use of this quantitative analysis? Quantitative analysis is nothing but it is useful to determine the strength of or amount of solute. So the quantitative analysis, quantitative means quantity, how much quantity of solute present in a solution or how much strength of solution. Unknown solution, it is useful to determine the unknown solution. Unknown solution strength or amount of solute present in solution. By using volumetric analysis. So the experiment name, how to determine the strength of unknown solution or amount of solute present in unknown solution. That experiment name is called volumetric analysis or titrometric analysis or quantitative analysis. Is also known as a quantitative analysis. So this type of volumetric analysis are two types. In this volumetric analysis, acid-base volumetric analysis is present and another one is redox titration is also present or titrometric analysis. So this titrometric analysis or volumetric analysis is two types, acid base, and second one is redox titrations. Redox titrations. So in redox titrations, what happens, ma'am? What happens? Oxidation and reduction, both half reactions are taking place. But in acid base, then acid and base both combine to form salt and water. In that, one solution strength is known solution, another solution strength is unknown solution. That unknown solution strength we need to find out. We need to find out. See, what are the important terms present in quantitative analysis or volumetric analysis? Important terms: titration. See, for this experiment, what are the important things required for this quantitative analysis or volumetric analysis? So mainly required stand. This is a tripod stand. This is burette. Okay. This is a burette and tripod stand. So this is nozzle mark. In this burette, we need to fill with which solution strength we need to find out. Which solution strength or amount of solute present in that solution. That solution we have to fill in burette. So this burette volume, how much is present, is around 50 ml. Up to this mark it is 50 ml mark. So for example, this solution is KMnO4 solution, potassium permanganate solution. This solution strength we don't know. Okay. So unknown solution, unknown strength of solution must we have to fill in burette without air bubbling. So for your practicals, they will give funnel also. After that, what we have to do? This nozzle also we need to fill. That's why just we have to, without being air bubbles, we need to fill properly. Now, and we have to adjust 0 mark. So now this solution strength we don't know. So that solution just I filled in a burette, KMnO4 solution, potassium permanganate solution. Okay. And another solution, this is oxalic acid solution now. Oxalic acid solution. The strength they will give in exam. Okay. Already this is a known concentration. Known concentration. This concentration we know that they will give the concentration of the solution. They will give either in molarity or in normality. Either molarity or in normality they will give. Okay. That we have to, this known concentration solution we have to fill in conical flask. By how much amount we need to take? By using pipette. This pipette volume is 10 ml. See here one mark is present. Up to that mark, then how much volume will comes? 10 ml will comes exactly. Otherwise 20 ml pipettes also be present. 20 ml, 50 ml like different. But 10 ml is sufficient. Okay, that's why just I am taking 10 ml of oxalic acid. Okay. Now I filled that I transferred this oxalic acid into the conical flask. Now this solution strength unknown solution and this is a known solution. Then we are doing titration against with unknown solution and known solution. Then that process is known as titration. That process is known as a titration. So in that process, important terms: titrant, Titrant. Titrant means known concentration solution. Titrant means known concentrate solution. Strength of oxalic acid may be 0.1 normal or 0.2 molar, like different values they will use. Don't worry. In exam, just I am saying examples. Here I am not mentioning the strength. The strength of solution we know that. This we don't know. So both we are doing practical. Then that process is known as titration. In that titration process, the titrant is known concentration solution. Non concentration solution. Titrate is unknown concentration solution. Unknown concentration solution. So the unknown concentration solution strength we need to find out by using this experiment. So in some cases what happens, KMnO4 versus oxalic acid titration, that reaction is taking place in acidic medium, KMnO4. This is H2SO4. 10 ml of H2SO4 we need to add by using test tube. So this test tube volume how much? 10 ml. Just I transferred that 10 ml of H2SO4 into the conical flask. Okay. Now this is oxalic acid solution I made in acidic medium. Now just I am doing practical titration. Dropwise I am adding how much quantity is required. The dropwise I am adding by the addition of oxalic KMnO4 solution. Actually initially it is colorless. After that what happens, it turns into pale pink color. Pink color is formed. Then we have to check that how much volume of KMnO4 is transferred. After that we need to, this is a redox reaction titration. Means KMnO4 is converted into manganese ions, M+2 ions, and oxalic acid converted into carbon dioxide, CO2. Means KMnO4 undergoes reduction and oxalic acid undergoes oxidation. Both oxidation and reductions are taking place in this volumetric analysis. That's why it is applications for redox reaction. It is one important applications for redox reaction, and this process is known as redox titration reactions. Okay, students. See, after by adding this unknown solution to the known solution, end point means it is the particular point or equivalent point. Means the quantity, number of equivalents of oxidizing agent or number of equivalents of reducing agent, or number of equivalents of acid or number of equivalents of base, both are equal. That point is known as end point. At end point what happens? Immediately color will changes. Okay, so to identification of end points, sometimes color will changes or sometimes we need to use indicators. So the end point, what happens? One is how to identify the end point by the physical observations, or otherwise we need to use indicators. Physical observation means what happens? Color will changes. Physical observation means color changes will come. Otherwise indicators. Indicators are two types of indicators are present. Acid base indicators. Acidic indicator, methyl orange indicator or methyl red indicator is present, and basic indicator, phenolphthalein indicator is present. Generally for redox titrations there is not required any indicator. So in this redox reaction or redox titration, KMnO4 versus oxalic acid titration, KMnO4 acts as a self indicator, and at end point what happens? Colorless is converted into pale pink color. Then we have to count the volume of KMnO4 used. Already known concentration solution, strength we know that, and volume also we know that, because how much volume I used? 10 ml I used, and here volume we need to count out. Then exactly it is not like this volume we need to report. Then how to calculate the strength of unknown solution? So the formula is M1V1 by N1 is equal to M2V2 by N2 in terms of molarity, or in terms of normality the formula is N1V1 is equal to N2V2. N1V1 are the unknown solution, normality and volume. Normality you don't know, but volume already we measured by using this titration. Then normality, if you find, means normality is equal to strength of the solution. Otherwise, this solution already we know that. Now see, after few times, then the color will be disappears. Just we need to add a few drops. Then immediately pale pink color will forms. Pale pink color will forms. Okay. This is redox titration. In redox titrations, indicator is not required when KMnO4 versus oxalic acid, because the KMnO4 acts as a self indicator. So in that, how to find the strength? For determining the strength by using the formulas, M1V1 by N1 is equal to M2V2 by N2. M2V2 by N2, or normality and volume of unknown solution is equal to normality into volume of known solution. Normality, strength of known solution, normality, and volume 10 ml. Now volume already here we need to measure, maybe 10 ml or 20 ml. Like normality we need to find out. That is the normality of KMnO4 solution. This type of experiments are called quantitative analysis or volumetric analysis. Quantitative analysis or volumetric analysis. Okay. See here, in this quantitative analysis or volumetric analysis, indicators, what are the important indicators we are using? To identify the end point. So the end point sometimes physically it will appear, no need to use any indicator, especially in redox titrations. But in acid-base titrations, we must have to use indicators. In first PUC practicals, acid-base indicators, acid-base titration is there. But in second PUC, redox titrations are there. Okay, when regular classes will starts, when will be regular classes, college will reopen, then we will do these practicals once again. Individually, everyone can do, no problem. So I can do arrangements and everything in our chemistry lab. Okay, students, see indicators. So indicators, one is methyl orange indicators, and second one is phenolphthalein indicator. Phenolphthalein indicator. This methyl orange indicator pH value is 3 to 4.4. 3 to 4.4 means acidic indicator. It is acidic indicator. And phenolphthalein indicator pH range is 8 to 10. 8 to 10 is basic indicator. Basic indicator. This methyl orange indicator in acids. In acids it gives pink color, but in bases colorless. Bases colorless. But in phenolphthalein indicator, in acids colorless. Sorry, here not colorless, ma'am, pale yellow. Bases, what is the color? Pale yellow. Phenolphthalein indicator in acids colorless, but in bases pink color will forms. Pink color. Okay. So methyl orange indicator or phenolphthalein indicator. So whenever this volumetric analysis we are doing strong acid versus strong base, we can use any indicator. Methyl orange indicator we can use, or phenolphthalein indicator you can use. Whether strong acid versus strong acid plus weak base titration, then we need to use methyl orange indicator only. Methyl orange indicator only we need to use. Okay. Strong base plus weak acid. Then phenolphthalein indicator, PHP. Phenolphthalein indicator only we need to use. So types of acid base titrations. What are those, ma? One is acid, strong base titration.